What's up, guys? So today we're going to talk about supplements. Alright, so I know I've promised this video for a while now. I said I was going to upload it a couple weeks ago, but I was just really overloaded with school, so I didn't have time to make it. So I'm home for Thanksgiving and I'm making it for you guys right now. First things first, I would like to say that before you consider any type of supplementation, obviously the things that are going to determine your goals the most are your caloric intake, followed by macronutrient breakdown, and then you're structuring your training properly. If those things aren't dialed in, it doesn't matter what you take, you're not going to make the progress you want. I've done videos on most of those before, going more into detail on that, so I'm not going to talk about that now, but I just wanted to say that first. That being said, if those things are all dialed in, proper supplementation can be of some benefit. So let's start out with the basics of what I take for overall health and what I would recommend if you can only take, or you can only afford a few supplements. So first things first, multivitamin. This, I don't know if you guys can see, is Legion Athletics Triumph. This is by far my favorite multivitamin. It has just about everything in it and actually has proper dosages. It is a lot of pills. It's 8 pills a day, but that's because they actually put the proper dose of all the ingredients in there. A lot of multivitamins are just kind of fairy dusted with ingredients, so it looks like there's a lot, but they don't actually have enough of them in there to do anything. This is a little bit more expensive, but you're paying for quality. If you can't afford or you don't want to pay for Legion Athletics Triumph, the next brand that I would recommend, which I'll recommend for some other products, is Now Sports. If you're a guy, the Now Sports Atom multivitamin I've used in the past, and I really like that one. It's cheaper than this. It's not quite as comprehensive. This is definitely better, but if you're on a tight budget, I think Now Atom's probably your best choice. So I would always say, just about for anyone, I would recommend a multivitamin, just because almost nobody gets enough micronutrients through diet alone. Even me personally, I eat a ton of vegetables and I still feel like I don't get enough. So multivitamin. And next is a fish oil. Now, unless you're eating fatty, really high quality fatty fish like wild caught salmon every other day, you're not getting enough omega-3s in your diet. You're probably getting way too many omega-6s from processed vegetable oils, so your ratios are going to be way off. Everyone can benefit from an omega-3 supplement. Legion Athletics Triton is a really, really high quality one. There's other really high quality fish oils, but for the price, this is definitely the best one. There's a lot that are cheaper than this. I definitely wouldn't recommend those. I've used them in the past before I came across Legion Athletics, and just because you have a certain amount of fish oil, that doesn't compare to the actual amount of EPA and DHA that is in the fish oil. So if you're getting a really low quality fish oil, you're not getting enough EPA and DHA. It might be cheaper per pill, but you would have to take way more pills to actually get the amount of EPA and DHA that you need to be beneficial. And I've kind of calculated it out, and I found that it comes out to about the same price as it does for Triton, but you have to take way less pills with Triton, and I trust the quality of this a lot more. So just make sure you're getting a really quality fish oil and you're not skimping on that. Now, I'd say that's the absolute minimum. If you're going to get supplements, I would get a multivitamin and fish oil. Start with that. The next thing that everyone obviously talks about taking or wants to take is a protein supplement. This is Legion Athletics Whey Plus Cookies and Cream. That's my favorite flavor. Now, you don't need a protein supplement. You can easily meet your 1 gram per pound of body weight per day of protein through your diet alone. yes, a protein supplement can make it easier. So if you struggle to hit that, a quality protein supplement can be great. I would just be careful of cheap protein supplements because a lot of brands out there have been caught amino spiking, which I'm not going to get into. I could talk about that forever, but pretty much what it means is just because it says a certain amount of protein on the label doesn't mean that's how much protein is actually in there. A lot of times you're getting way less than, no pun intended, you're getting way less than that in the actual powders. So Legion Athletics, it's a good brand. If you're not going to get Legion Athletics, although this is a pretty decent price for a pure whey isolate, and whey isolate isn't really any better than concentrate unless you're lactose intolerant or have issues with dairy. A whey isolate's gonna cause you less issue than a concentrate. If you're not gonna get Legion Athletics whey, really the only other brand now that is cheaper than Legion Athletics, obviously there's more expensive brands that are just overpriced. Obviously they're high quality, but they're overpriced. If you need something that's cheaper, I've heard good things about MyProtein. Never actually used them myself, but they have really good reviews on labdoor.com, which is a good place to check out supplements. They haven't had any issues with amino spiking. I used to recommend Optimum Nutrition's whey because it's cheap and I thought it was high quality. I used that myself for a long time. Even though I don't really use protein supplements that often now, I'll use them every once in a while when I'm struggle to meet my intake for that day. But yeah, so I used to use this Optimum Nutrition whey, but they actually did have some issues with amino spiking. I mean, this is better than some really cheap Walmart options, but there's definitely better choices out there. I probably wouldn't go with Optimum. After that, in terms of price, one supplement that I believe everyone trying to build muscle should take because it's extremely cheap and it's really the only muscle building supplement that's been shown to be effective is creatine. Now, I personally use Legion Athletics Recharge, which is their post-workout supplement. It's got your 5 grams of creatine monohydrate. You don't need all these new fancy varieties of creatine. Those are just marketing tactics because they know creatine works, so they're trying to put a new spin on it to be able to sell more products. All you need, 5 grams of creatine monohydrate every day. Take it consistently, even on rest days, and you don't really need to cycle off of it for the benefits. So I personally take Legion Athletics Recharge because I have access to it. It's a great post-workout supplement, and it gives you your 5 grams of creatine monohydrate. But if you don't want a post-workout supplement, they also have an unflavored, so you can mix it with your protein shake. But if you just want plain creatine, bodybuilding.com or Optimum Nutrition creatine monohydrate, unflavored, just mix it with your protein. 1 teaspoon, which is 5 grams every day. It's a really cheap option. Just for the price, you can't go wrong with creatine. So I would recommend taking that if your goal is to build muscle. Now, the next thing, you don't need it, but if your workouts are really intense and sometimes you struggle with energy levels, I highly recommend a good pre-workout. Now, there are a lot of shitty pre-workouts on the market because it's not the ingredients that are bad. A lot of them have the right ingredients, but they don't have enough of them to actually be effective. Like, you'll get beta-alanine, caffeine, whatever, in most of your pre-workouts. Some of them have citrulline, but generally it's only like 1 to 2 grams of citrulline, maybe 1 to 2 grams of beta-alanine, and that's not actually the effective dose. So read your labels on your stuff. Most likely, if your pre-workout feels like it works, that's just because there's a shitload of stimulants in there, and that's really not healthy. I try not to go much above 300 or so grams of caffeine, and that's only when I train legs, which is a very intense workout. So things like Mr. Hyde, absolutely insane amount of caffeine and stimulants. That's just gonna take a huge toll on your adrenals, and you're just gonna burn out after that, and then you're gonna crash hard. So this is actually the reason I originally got with Legion Athletics. The Pulse is the #1 rated pre-workout on labdoor.com. It has been forever. I spent months searching for like what I thought was the perfect pre-workout as far as not having any artificial sweeteners. That was a big issue to me then. And on top of that, having all the ingredients I wanted and having them at the right dose. It took me like 4 months of looking online to actually find something I liked. I found another one, Pure Pump, but the ingredient list wasn't good. I tried it, I didn't really like it, and it was overpriced for what was in it. Came across this, and then I fell in love with Legion Athletics after that. You've got 8 grams of citrulline in a whole serving, 4.8 grams of beta-alanine. You got betaine, 2.5 grams, 350 grams of caffeine in 2 scoops. I generally take, which is a full serving, I only take 1 scoop on all my days except for my leg sessions. And it also has 350 grams of L-theanine along with the caffeine, which really helps to keep your energy levels steady throughout your workout, which I've really noticed, and one of the reasons I like this. The combination of L-theanine and caffeine makes for a lot steadier energy levels rather than the spike and crash you get with excessive stimulants. So enough rambling about that. This is a good pre-workout, but just make sure to read your label on your pre-workouts because there's a lot of shitty pre-workouts out there. So after pre-workout, I take a couple other vitamins on top of my multivitamin, and these are all from Now Sports, which is one of the other brands besides Legion Athletics. It's one of the other brands that I really trust, and especially for buying individual vitamins, it's probably one of my favorite, most trusted brands. So the things I take in addition to my multivitamin, I take additional vitamin C from Now Sports, vitamin E, vitamin D, and I also take a probiotic from Now Sports. So those are my basic vitamins that I take. You can take those, you don't have to. For most people, if you're limited on what you're going to buy, I would just stick to a good multivitamin first and then maybe look into additional vitamins later. Every individual, you might have certain personal issues that would require more of a specific vitamin, but I can't really give advice on that without knowing you personally. So, one other thing, I don't personally have any joint issues, but I used to have issues with my wrists and knees when I was training too heavy too often, and I took glucosamine and chondroitin because it's supposed to be good. Really, the research is kind of iffy on that, how beneficial it really is. Now, Legion Athletics has a good joint supplement. It's called Forge. I haven't used it personally, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, people that love it. I don't use it because I don't have any joint issues anymore. After adjusting my training, if I ever did, I'd probably try it out because I've heard good things about it. But one of the big things in it is curcumin, which is an extract of turmeric powder. It more, rather than helping with joint pain, it reduces chronic inflammation. So it'll help reduce chronic inflammation, which will lead to less joint pain. And it's just shown to be more effective than glucosamine and chondroitin. You can use this. It's not going to hurt you, but there's a good chance it won't really help that much. For the price you're paying, I would say it's not really worth it. If you have joint issues, I would look into other options. But obviously that's not something everyone needs to take. Personally, I do take a green supplement from Legion Athletics. I have access to it, so I'm going to take it. I find, even though I eat a ton of vegetables, I want to make sure all my bases are covered. So I do take generally half a scoop every day or a scoop every other day. I don't feel like I need a whole scoop every day just because I eat so many vegetables. This is definitely not a necessity for supplements. Definitely shouldn't be your first priority, but if you have extra money that you want to spend and you're concerned about your overall health, it could be something to look into. So, I mean, you can keep that in mind, but it shouldn't be your first priority. So 2 supplements that I used to take that I don't anymore just because I was kind of, I don't know, tricked into taking them and buying them from a lot of the crap in the supplement industry. First is dextrose powder or a carb powder. Now, if you're training more than once a day, having carbs immediately post-workout can be beneficial because you need to replenish those glycogen stores before your next workout. But if you're only training once a day, and I'm not talking about cardio, I'm talking about intense like weight training, then there's no need to replenish your glycogen stores immediately post-workout. There's not really any need to even have a protein shake immediately post-workout. I don't. But if you do need a carb supplement, Now Sports pure dextrose powder or Carbogain are both, they cost practically nothing, so it's not going to hurt your wallet to use it, but it's just, I'd much rather eat my carbs, and honestly, as long as you replenish your glycogen stores and eat your carbs before your next workout, so anytime later in the day after your workout, as long as you're eating whole food meals, then there's no reason to supplement with a carbohydrate supplement unless you're training again later that day. So there's no need for this. It's not that it's too expensive, it's just, I mean, who doesn't like eating carbs, right? Why would you want to drink your carbs? Now, the last thing, this is a very popular supplement that I used to take, but there's no reason. Branched chain amino acids. Now, the only situation where I would recommend branched chain amino acids is if you're like a vegetarian or vegan, and one, you're struggling to get enough protein in, and two, the proteins that you're eating are not complete amino acid profiles, so you're not getting enough. Honestly, it's not even branched chain amino acids. It would be more specifically taking L-leucine, which is the biggest stimulator of muscle protein synthesis. So if you're having a protein-rich meal but you're not getting enough leucine content, you're not going to fully maximize protein synthesis. If you're eating things like meat, eggs, animal sources, as long as you're eating significant protein, you're getting enough leucine to maximize protein synthesis for the most part. But maybe if you're vegan or vegetarian, you could look into supplementing with it. But the whole drinking branched chain amino acids throughout your workout, throughout the day, not only is it pointless, but also too frequent of feeding of protein and amino acids can actually kind of down-regulate your body's ability to maximize protein synthesis when you do have that. So it's better to actually spread out your protein intake in larger quantities than smaller amounts really frequently throughout the day. So there's definitely no need for branched chain amino acids. As long as you're meeting your protein intake every day of 1 gram per pound of body weight, branched chain amino acids are pointless. You're getting enough protein, you don't need to add more amino acids, so I would not use those. Now, as far as where to get supplements, if you're interested in the Now Sports, I would say bodybuilding.com is generally priced relatively good, but I usually just buy them off of Amazon. I have an Amazon Prime account, so free 2-day shipping and really good prices on most of their products, and almost all their products are on there. And then obviously if you're interested in any of the Legion Athletics products, legionathletics.com, link is in the video description along with my code WKEMP, WKEMP, and that can get you 10% off if you order any Legion supplements, so definitely check them out. If there's any Legion supplements that you want to read up more on, obviously before you buy them, if you go to their website and click on the supplement, there's a very long write-up of why they use what they use in the product, talking about the product, and it's all backed by scientific research. They link the sources in there so you can check that out. It's actually good information. So there you go. If you guys have any questions on supplements, you can comment on here, you can comment on my Instagram, you can message me, and I'll try to answer any questions that I can, but I hope this was fairly comprehensive. Oh, and one last thing, one last tip for supplements. For all my pills, I just have this little pill divider, AM, PM, that I fill up at the beginning of each week, and it just makes it a lot easier than having to take out all the individual pills each time, because I like to split up all my vitamins between 2 meals so I get more absorption. So this is a cheap way to help keep you on track and make sure you take everything. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll catch you guys next time.